Hello summoners, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're gonna talk about 4 extremely powerful synergies in Marvel Contest of Champions featuring Storm, Guillotine, Iron Man, Infinity War and Sabretooth. But before we start, a quick word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Fishing Clash. In this game, you can visit fishing spots all around the world, and my favorite thing about this game is definitely the huge variety of fish they offer. From salmons to sharks, you can catch them all. And don't forget to upgrade your fishing gear, because if you want a better chance of catching those big fishes, then you definitely want to be up to date on your gear. This game also has a PvP mode where you can challenge others in a duel, you can compete in tournaments, championships, and the graphics of this game are pretty amazing. This game also offers new events every single week for new adventures, and you'll definitely not get bored easily when you're playing this game. Now let's take a look at the PvP gameplay. So basically you match your opponent, then you select your fish, you go for the duel, and hopefully you win. And overall it just gives you so many different locations where you can fish, from the Florida coast to the Kenai River to Guntersville Lake, Amazon River. And overall the gameplay is very smooth, it's a lot of fun, and I will highly recommend you guys to download this game. It's free on both iOS and Android. The link is in the description, it's also in the pinned comment. Make sure to use that, as it definitely helps out this channel. And this game has over 50 million downloads in the Play Store, so what are you waiting for? Just join us, and after you do play, do let me know in the comment section what you think of this game. So that's pretty much going to do it. Once again, thanks to Fishing Clash for sponsoring this video, and let's get started. Now Storm on her own, without the Apocalypse synergy making her horseman, she is pretty meh. She has been in the game for a very long time. Her damage output on the special attacks is actually still pretty decent, especially if the opponent has a lot of power. But on her basic attacks, her damage output without any synergies is bad. But now with the synergies, as you're going to see, we are using a lot of heavy attacks, which is refreshing the shock damage on the opponent and also adding a bunch of shocks. So the damage over time that she can achieve is very quick, and if you can actually compare this to characters like Archangel and even Cable as a horseman. Like I have used her in Abyss of Legends, and she is not the best option there, but still viable, especially because you can have the infinite stuns. Like you don't have the limber thing going like you do in Labyrinth, but even in Labyrinth you can use the White Magneto pre-fight, and you can see this shock damage, it gets pretty crazy pretty fast. So now moving on to the second synergy that we are going to talk about, it is Guillotine. Guillotine with Purgatory has a pretty similar thing to what Horseman Wolverine has. Like basic attacks, when she crits, they have a chance of critical bleeds, and you can see there. We also have Ronin in the team right now, which depending on her souls increases her crit rating. So I guess you can understand, like you crit more because of Ronin synergy, and when you crit more, you crit bleed more because of the Purgatory synergy, and the damage output is just ridiculous. And if you also add Morningstar, and I know that we are talking about a lot of synergies here, but Morningstar, Ronin, Purgatory, all decent characters, and with these synergies, Guillotine is pretty good. Like the damage output is amazing. I'm gonna go for a huge SP3 pretty soon here, and as you can see, like critical bleeds, they're not too uncommon. Every 5-10 hits you get one, and sometimes you get lucky and you get 3 in one combo, and the damage output is ridiculous. Of course I will still prefer Wolverine because of the healing. Now Guillotine also has healing if she is awakened, but you can't really compare her regeneration to Wolverine because he is kind of the regen king. I'd say Blades is a little bit better because it's more reliable, you can get it whenever you want. But take a look at the SP3, it never gets old. And I remember when I personally used a 2-star Guillotine in Realm of Legends back in the day to take down the Realm of Legends Wolverine, and that was such an annoying fight, especially like 3-4 years ago, when we didn't have great regen reversal options. So she definitely had her thing in the past, but now she actually did pretty well in the buff poll thing. She was second, so eventually I am hoping that she will get a buff because she was Kabam's first original character. But now moving on, we have Sabretooth, who even without synergies is actually a pretty underrated character in my opinion. His damage output is still decent, but with the Sasquatch synergy, he only needs one. and his damage output just becomes ridiculous. Like I've done damage comparisons with Sabretooth against Aegon, against Strife, a triple damage comparison, like Strife, Aegon, and Sabretooth, and overall my results are that these three are kind of close. Of course, Strife and Aegon are, in my opinion, a little bit better because they also have a lot more going utility wise and they don't need synergy. Well, Strife benefits a lot from being a horseman, but so like almost every mutant, I guess Namor doesn't benefit from it much, but basically in every single fight you must get one SP3 off. This is critical. If you don't and you run out of your persistent charges, you don't want that to happen, which is the reason, like, because you have to get to the SP3, which is not a problem in these longer fights usually, but against the Abyss Collector, because that's why Aegon is so great there, because even if you just get 10-15 hits in, if you get hit first, you gain so many furies, your damage is ridiculous, and you are unblockable because you're fully built up. So even on a bad run, you are taking off a decent amount of health, whereas if you are going to use Sabretooth as your main Aegon replacement on your Abyss easy path, Brian has done it, it is definitely doable, then I will suggest bringing in Corvus Glaive. As weird as that sounds, Corvus is obviously not known to be good for longer fights, but because you have to think of Abyss Collector as a short fight where you want to do as much damage as possible before dying, and for situations like that, Corvus Glaive is really good, and Aegon is obviously the best counter. Strife is also kind of decent, but Sabretooth, he will lose all the damage in after a few tries, after he runs out of persistent charges, and then you definitely don't want to revive this guy. But when he does have his persistent charges and all those 30 furies, you can see the damage even when he doesn't bleed, even just like the basic hit when he creates 12,000 light attack, 18,000 mediums I believe, and his damage actually, like, if you probably have been playing the game since Sasquatch was released, but before he didn't have like the cap on his furies with the Sasquatch synergy, and his damage was just broken. But it was also like, I don't think they needed to put the 30 damage like the 30 cap on his fury, because the thing is, like, building him up does require a little bit of revives in the beginning of your run, and it's worth it in longer stuff like Labyrinth and Abyss. But like in a realistic situation, if you're not talking about the CCP beta, then most people will be happy with 30 furies, and then they'll stop using revives and building him up further and just go further on. But now we're going to talk about Iron Man Infinity War, and here I do not do the best job at playing him, because ideally you want to use your heavy attacks to convert the shock and incinerate into a plasma. But even then, you can see the damage output, like the damage over time, is very strong. It's not stressful to keep, which is the problem that I have with Iron Man Infinity War. If you're not talking about the Stealth Suit Spider-Man synergy, like, that is the synergy at work here. And I wish Silver Centurion, I think Silver Centurion has huge damage potential, but it's very stressful to play him and keep everything up. I think he is missing that Stealth Suit Spider-Man synergy. Like, if he gets a similar synergy later on, then he will climb up in tier list very quickly. But that's gonna do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Like this video, share with your alliance, and don't forget to download Fishing Clash from the link in the description or the pinned comment. Stay safe, have a good one. Bye bye.